Everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes only. Listen, have some fun, but don't ever do, believe, or promote anything they say. They're idiots.
Guys, hold up. You should know, this ain't for everybody. Welcome to Savagely Loud. What's happening, people? Guys, welcome back to the show for the people that understand the facts. Divided by feelings equals failure. I'm Cliff, I'm your host, and today we are going to dive into a very, very interesting topic. I think a topic that we're all super interested in, and that's Norse paganism. We're going to step back into the world of axes, oaths, and honor, and we're not going to hold back. But before we get to that, you know the drill. If you want to help me get these words out, get this truth out, you can follow me on Instagram at Savagely Loud. That is where I'm most active. On that page, you're going to find two links. One of those links is to the Savagely Loud podcast page on Instagram. If you could please follow me there too, as that will inevitably be my backup page when they shut this one down. The other link you're going to find is a simple link tree. Anywhere you want to find my media, find my videos, or listen to my rants, you can find it all right there. Outside of that, you can follow me at Facebook, X, and Rumble at Savagely Loud, YouTube at Savagely Loud Podcast. You can now follow me on Substack. I just got started at Savagely Loud. And you can email me at savagelyloud@gmail.com. Last but not least, don't forget to like, comment, and share the material. And absolutely, please, 100% of the time, leave a review. A great review does a lot of wonders for us. Rate the show, great ratings, all that stuff. You know the drill. I know you know because I see you doing it. I see the results of this. So please keep on keeping on. And without further ado, you know the man that you see on the screen. He's here every Thursday now. And it is the big bad Viking, Dave Anderson himself. How we doing today?
Oh, I'm fucking great. How about you, Cliff?
I got zero fucking complaints. Zero complaints. So,
ain't nothing to complain about.
Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? All your pages, all your sites, all yours.
Okay, well, let's go through that spiel again. Let's roll it back here. So you can find us we're heavily active on Instagram and Facebook lately. And when you're there, you can go up to that little bio and find our link tree. That's going to take you to all of our other social media outlets where you can listen to our show, where you can watch it on YouTube. And, you can see us over on TikTok as well. Now, since this episode is about Norse paganism, you can also check me out over on TikTok at Heathen Layak. And that's where I have a lot of different information regarding Norse paganism as well. So you can go check that out. Don't forget to follow, like, share, leave a comment, review my show. Because as Cliff says, it helps with the algorithms. It helps to break that cycle so we can get that truth out.
It really, really does help, guys. When you rate the show, 5-star ratings, when you leave a great review, when you do this stuff, it really, really does help get us into the algorithm and get these fucking truths out there to start waking everybody up. So, well, without further ado, let's dive into a religion that has, for all intents and purposes, by my research, seems to have been erased, or attempted to have been erased by the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims, and that is the Viking culture, Norse paganism. What do we actually call this? What is it actually? Is it Norse paganism? Is it just paganism? What is it? What exactly is this?
Well, I mean, if it falls under paganism, but it's mostly, to relate to those gods, it's Norse paganism. That's what everybody relates to it nowadays. If you go back in history, like the British and the French would call them Danes, would call them Northmen, would call them heathens. So, heathens and Norse paganism kind of go hand in hand.
So, from my research, now, mind you, let me preface this. For anybody that hasn't listened before, you guys will. I should tell you, for those that have listened, you know this story. God was not allowed in my house growing up. My parents weren't not about God. My grandmother was super all about the Jesus, but God wasn't allowed in my house. I found God later on. And so I don't really know much about the Christian culture other than what I've gained in living in America and living with my grandma, and people that are all about Christ. And the reason I want to do this episode, is because a lot of the times that when Christians, as I refer to myself as, when Christians start speaking, we inevitably get somebody in the crowd that wants to educate us. And I'm not throwing any shade here. These people are actually wanting to educate us, and they go into these very long stories and explanations about what parts of Christianity was actually taken, borrowed, or plain blatantly stolen from Norse paganism. So the ties between the two religions is incredibly intriguing to me, and I get told by a particular friend of mine, at least once a month, your only problem is you keep calling God by the wrong name. He's a pagan, and and it's not Dave. So pull back if you're going to attack him on it. But he does say that to me. So I want to learn more about this, because I'll be honest with you guys. The modern version of Christianity is not the version that I was somewhat, even a little bit familiar with growing up. Growing up, it seemed like Christians, they leaned more on the make no peace with evil. Instead of nowadays in modern Christianity, it seems to be leaning more on love thy neighbor, and then with the addition of no matter what the fuck they're doing to you. And that is kind of a disgusting thing to me, to just be expected to roll over like a bitch when somebody's stabbing you to death and killing your culture and your people. So I want to know about the gods that didn't deal with any of that, the gods that didn't take shit off of anybody. So that's why we're going to do the episode. And I understand that this is going to be a little bit triggery for some of you. And I mean, yes. Honestly, I don't really give a shit. If you're watching my show and my content and you're expecting to not get triggered, I mean, what are we really doing here? This is why people come here, right? You get triggered, and then you get educated, and then you walk away with a new perspective. That's the way we do things.
Oh, exactly. You know, Cliff, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to start off by saying, when growing up, I was raised Christian. I was raised Lutheran. So for me, finding this path, it came at a time when I needed it the most. It was like bringing me back to my roots. And it's when I was lost, I needed it the most, and that's when it came back. So in no way, in shape, or form am I trying to change anybody's mind on what they believe in. This is my beliefs. So I want to put that out there right away. So people can't be like, oh, you're trying to change my views on my religion. Fuck you. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to educate you on a religion that goes past when Christianity first came around.
Yeah, because it was, according to the Bible, even it was around before the Bible, before Christians, yep. Before the Jews and Judeo-Christianity and Hebrews and all of that stuff. It's in the tales that these are the people they came across, and so I mean it's inevitable. I mean it is a biblical religion, if not only by reference. You know what I mean? So we can at least, it's just not part of the Abrahamic religions. Which people have been taught, if you're not part of the Abrahamic religions, you're terrible. So, it's what we do. We educate, motherfuckers. So let's get to educating. So I understand from talking with you, because you're very well versed in this, and this is also why I wanted to do this episode with you particularly, because you are so versed in it, and I know that we can really make the light on this shine with you at the helm here. So I understand that it's been largely erased, and you have to really, really, really dive deep into the internet to try to find any information on it.
Yes.
Do we know anything about the origins of the religion to start out with?
The furthest, the text, they first started writing text on Norse paganism, on this religion. It was so far gone, and it's unfortunate because it was a Christian writing the text. So it was biased to Christianity. You can go, we know about the Great Heathen Army and when they stormed France and Britain, stuff like that. We know about some of those wars back in, between that, I guess what you want to call the Viking era. That is kind of what we know, but it does go, it goes back to the Bronze Age, 800 BCE is when technically Norse paganism was first, kind of put out there, I guess you could say. when they first started acknowledging that. And it went up to like 11, let's say like 1170 is when it kind of fell off. Like, and nobody knows why it fell off. Well, they claim they don't know why it fell off, but let's be honest, we know why it fell off.
Judeo-Christianity and the Muslims erased it.
Yeah, it got eradicated. Back in those days, people were forced. Either you're going to convert to Christianity or you're going to be killed, and we're going to kill you and we're going to kill all your family.
As they did in the Middle East to this day.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny how that goes hand in hand still today.
Yeah.
You know, so an actual date on it, that's really hard to actually pinpoint the start of it. I mean, you can go through different eras of different religions, and, you know, because I mean, you have the Egyptian religion that started thousands and thousands of years ago before Norse paganism. Then you have the Greek paganism and, you know, obviously Hebrew Judaism and stuff like that as well. That was the base point for Christianity, Islam, and, you know, Jewish people.
All right. So we've got our origin. Now, what's the basic, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the basic belief structure of Norse paganism? I know it's polytheistic, which means you believe in multiple gods. And
Yes.
to rewind just for a second, anybody that's not familiar with the term BCE, that's before Common Era. Look it up. We don't need to get into it, but now you know what it means. So, but I understand that it's the big difference is it's polytheistic. There's so what seems to be a god for everything. Can we go into that a little bit? What are all these gods? Are they tasked? We don't have to go through every single god, but, you know, a couple of the bigger ones and why they've been delegated to separation.
Okay, so why don't we take the gods that everybody is familiar with from Marvel that has completely destroyed it?
Yeah.
All right, so let's start off with Odin. Odin, he was the All-Father. He was the creator of all. He created man and the world from Mimir through... Okay, so the world was created through Mimir, you know, which was Odin's brother. Him and his other two brothers killed him and used his blood for the water, his bones, his like skull and stuff like that for the mountains and land and all that stuff. That's what created Midgard. He created Ash and Embla out of the ash tree, and that's what created humans. And then creating animals and stuff like that was from like the wood that was washed up on shore and stuff like that with salt licked and all that stuff. So that's kind of how everything was created with Odin. He is the chieftain of the gods, but some don't really know. He wasn't the first chieftain, so to speak, of the gods. Tyr, which there's not very much text on, he's a god of war, which we honor him on Tuesdays. Tyr was originally the first like chieftain of the gods. For some reason, he stepped away from that, and that's when Odin came up. So you have Odin, you know, all father. Then you have Frigg, which is his wife, the queen of Asgard, which is where the Aesir go. That's what you call the gods in Norse mythology. You have the Aesir, you have the Vanir. The Aesir were basically like Odin, Tyr, Thor, Balder, and so on and so forth. So, okay, so we went over, okay, so now let's go with Thor. Thor is the god of lightning, god of harvest, god of farm, agriculture, stuff like that. Thor has a short temper. He's the only one that can wield the Mjolnir, which is, you know, we wear this for strength and courage. It's one of our major symbols that we have. You also have Freya. See, when you go into Norse mythology, Freya sometimes can be the same person, but they're not. Frigg is Odin's wife, and Freya is kind of the leader of the Valkyrie, which the Valkyrie to Christians would be like the angels, like archangels, David, Michael, and all that stuff.
Okay.
And then obviously Loki. Loki is not a god, people.
Yeah, let's get into Loki real quick. Explain to people about Loki.
Loki is a giant, okay? The Aesir gods and the Jotun, they fought all the time. They didn't like each other. I I got to reread the story of how, but basically how Loki became in with the Aesir was through a blood pact with Odin. Odin, it became Odin's adopted brother. So they're not brothers, no relation, just a blood pact. And Loki is just a mischievous shapeshifter, I guess you can say, because in the stories he can shapeshift into horses, snakes, other people, and stuff like that. But people depict him as a god, and he's really a giant. So he's not really a god, but he was allowed to live with the Aesir because of Odin.
So the Aesir are the upper echelon of the gods. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, the Aesir are the full blown blood gods. Odin, Thor, Balder, Hemendal, and so on. So I mean, you got so many of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even funny.
Yeah, that's part of what's confusing for me is like there are so many gods and so many names to try to get a hold of here. So Loki's a giant. We've got that, but people think he's a god because he's Odin's brother, but they don't know that he's only Odin's brother by blood pact. That is so that's one of the big misconceptions that people look in on paganism as. And as you had stated earlier, the Marvel universe has basically slaughtered the reality behind these gods and what they actually were all about.
Yeah, you can actually see like my helmet right back here with the horns. That's false. Like they never wore horns like that back in the day at all. Never. But that's what they sell. You take away those horns, and that's kind of what you would have,
right,
back in those days. So
I had heard that. I heard that a lot of it was embellishment, and one theory that I heard, and I can only say that it's a theory because I've only heard it a couple of times, was that later on in time, the Judeo-Christians depicted the Vikings as wearing horns to put them basically on the same level as just beasts.
Yes.
Is there any validity to that?
Yes. Yeah, there is. I mean, they had to do whatever they can to make the heathen look bad when all they want, in Viking, I mean, it's a term to describe them, yes, but it's also the reason why they were called Vikings is, Viking, if you look it up, it means like pirates, raiders, and stuff like that. The Norse people were really just farmers. And unfortunately, in Scandinavia, it's so hard to farm a lot of the land out there. So they wanted to go out and search. And that's why they did these raids, because they wanted to find new land to be able to farm. That's all it was about for them, was farming. But they got blown up into being this whole, they're evil, they're the devil, all that stuff, because they would go raiding, in search of new land for them and their family and their next generations.
So there is an air of truth to the Viking raids, and they come in and wipe out villages and rape and fucking pillage and all that. So there is some sort of truth there. There is
some sort of truth there. How far that truth is, I mean, obviously, unless we were there, we wouldn't know 100% for sure. I mean, we just know what they tell us.
We can draw from circumstance, though. I mean, back in those days, it was a brutal fucking world they lived in, and everybody you ran across was potentially able and going to kill you. So, there was an air of brutality that was just accepted because it was necessary. So I get that. I've kind of looked at it over the years as like the more stories I hear is that especially when it comes to the rape culture of that people say that it existed in the Vikings. I feel like that was again kind of not to say it didn't happen. I'm sure it did because it's just what happened back then. But I feel like it was blown way the fuck out of proportion for the simple means of getting people to disavow that group, that religion, that ideology, that theory set.
Right.
You would agree with that?
I would agree 100% with that.
All right, cool. So when we come to, where did they come into the sailing part? Because everybody, when you think Viking, you think these big warships and sailing and all this. Where does that come in? Where did the ships come in? Because I know they were, like you said, they were all farmers, and farmers typically farm land, not water. So where did the sailing come in?
Well, I think the sailing, I believe, came in when, because back in those days, they were fighting amongst each other a lot between Sweden, Norway, and like the whole Scandinavian area up there. They would fight against each other. Mostly it was like Sweden, Norway, and maybe, some of the Danes. I mean, there was different. You had those three countries up there. So, I mean, you had different perspectives and, everybody wanted land. So I think once they got kind of done fighting themselves, it was, and realized that they couldn't really farm any of the land, and these guys were well past, like well ahead of their time when it came to building ships. I mean, nobody had ships like these guys that would travel fast, wouldn't sink. I mean, that's why they were able to accomplish so much. And a lot of people took what they did with their ships, like England and France and stuff like that, and that's when they started building ships once they started, seeing that those ships and how they were. So I think it was kind of when they finally realized that, they had no other choice but to look for other spots. I mean, you have guys like Leif Erikson, famous explorer. I mean, you had so many different famous explorers back then, and they always believed that there was more than just what they had. So they just started building these ships and just setting sail, trying to discover new land. And unfortunately for England, they landed on them.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest intrigues for me about the whole Viking Norse people is the sailing part. And, because we do hear like their ships were above and beyond anything that anybody could make at the time. They were the fastest sailing ships. They were the fucking, the driest inside. Like they did not leak. They didn't do shit. Because in most other countries at the time with their ships, they had bailers. They had people in the bottom of the ship that were always bailing water because they leaked so bad. But Vikings didn't have to have that, from what I understand.
Nope, they didn't. And it's funny because they brought a new way of being able to set sail with some of the, the tools that they had. So they know that which way they were going. And they also brought ravens with them. And what they would do is they would release the raven because the raven's going to fly to land. And if the raven just came back, there's no land anywhere near. So then that's why they just kept going. But once that raven didn't come back, that there's land coming up. So that's how they kind of knew when there was land and where they were going. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, everybody wants to say that Christopher Columbus was the first one to set foot over here in America. That's completely false. In the Viking Age, Norse pagans did it 1,500 years before him.
Really? I didn't even know that. I'll be honest with you. I had no fucking idea. I'm still a child of the indoctrination system here in America. So to hear that 1,500 years before that, the pagans had come over is it's pretty earth shattering, really. Yeah. They're finding artifacts on East Coast. They find a lot of it in British Columbia up there in Canada, which is one of the first places that they landed. And it wasn't the first time they came here. They described it as like the Golden Coast. And that's what they always wanted to get to because they always wanted to keep going because they knew that it wasn't, how it was with the land and stuff like that. And they wanted to find more. And that's what just kept pushing them to keep going. So when they came here, 1,500 years before that, I mean, they set up settlements up in British Columbia. They set up settlements across the East Coast as well. So they were actually the first people to have any type of communication with the tribalism that was going on here. It's funny how that's been erased from history, and it's all, now Christopher Columbus and Christianity landed on the shores of, Plymouth Rock and all, It's just,
no, that didn't happen. I mean, it did, but not before the fucking Vikings did it. We did it first, fuckers.
So when I want to address this term Viking. Is that a proper term for in reference to these people? Like, if you like, I understand that it's kind of, it's right now it's basically a colloquialism, like where it's we look at it, we romanticized it. But is that a proper term?
I mean, it is if you're a raider. I mean, it was a job. Literally, Viking was a job back in those days. Being a Viking was going out raiding other countries to bring back, jewels and gold and stuff, for their home. So, I mean, it was really just a job. I mean, unless you're a pirate or a, raider or something like that, I don't know how you'd be a Viking. Okay. And a lot of people seem to think that they're, the Viking mentality and all that stuff. I mean, and you can have that mentality. So, I mean, I wouldn't, it kind of depict, you're just saying, hey, Viking raider type shit,
Yeah,
I guess that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. And what's funny is, like, I'm sure there's people listening to this right now that are like, oh my God, that's deplorable. That's fucking terrible behavior. Yet they're intrigued by the fact that Genghis Khan, which that is actually how you're supposed to say his name is Genghis, how he erased 10% of the world's population. They're like, oh, that's fucking nifty. How dare these people come find other shit they didn't have? It's funny. Like, I find that kind of funny especially when it comes to paganism, because I myself included in this, so pull back, guys. When it comes to paganism, that seems like a trigger word that we hear in modern society, and he's just a fucking pagan, and then everybody like has this immediate urge to retract. And it's more like an epithet, like it's like dropping a hard R on a black dude, but really, I mean, that's what it seems like, but really what it is it's just it's more of the original religion. You know what I mean? Is that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, because if you really get into it, and you'll see how much has been stolen from paganism to form Christianity.
Oh, and we're going to get into that. I've got a list.
Oh yeah. And I got a bunch of stuff to point out too.
But
between.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do this episode so bad, because it's just like that's again another layer of it is people don't actually know anything about it, but they hear these words. They hear Viking, they hear pagan, they hear Norse, and they immediately like my history as a skinhead. People called me Norseman all the fucking time. Like, dude, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? You know what I mean? Like, it has zero to do with anything. Now, I will caveat that with. A lot of the white power movement does use runes from that era. Yeah. They use Odin's rune. They use warrior rune. They use these runes.
Volknot. Yeah. They use like the Volknot because that means warrior. The swastika, which is actually the sun wheel, they use that way too much. That was, Germanic and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff has been taken from the Norse religion and just spun to be pure evil. I think that was just another way for them to get people turned off of, like Norse paganism or even being pagan. Can't be a pagan if you support these fucking ruins and this and that, they look at you like you're racist. I mean, I wear my bracelet and it's got that's a rune for Odin. I wear this every fucking day. My wife made this for me, handmade. And people look at me.
No, go for it.
No, and people look at me like, oh, they see my Mjolnir around my neck. They look at me like I'm some sort of racist when I'm not. This is just my beliefs. This is the system I chose to believe in after figuring that, to me, I was lied to my whole life. By going to, church, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, and that's kind of how I feel like all of society has been for not just my life, but thousands of years now is, I don't necessarily believe that believing in in the teachings of Jesus Christ and all this other stuff. I would never discount the moral compass that has given people, but People have this refusal to understand that all religions came from somewhere. All belief structures, all ideologies came from somewhere. And most of everything we've ever known has been borrowed heavily upon from other things. And when you bring up the idea of Christianity borrowing so much from paganism, and then basically, you could really, I could argue this. I could argue that Christianity was formed 85% based on paganism, and they called it some other different shit, and then told you paganism was bad.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, Christianity was boxed 100% from other religions. I could, I would say that with conviction.
Yeah, I don't doubt
that. You have so many other religions before even Norse paganism, and then boom, here's Christianity. They basically took from all these different eras just so they can repurpose it to get more people to follow it. That's just how I look at it.
Well, I've also, when it comes to Christianity, I've often really just kind of just inside my own soul, my own head, dove deep into the argument between Jesus being white and a brown guy. And because since I was a child, I have always said religion in general, not just Christianity, but all religion in general is a system of control. Okay. So the way I look at it is people like humans, as soon as there's two humans, somebody wants control. Somebody wants to be able to call the shots and make the decisions. Somebody wants the power. Right. Well, if you tell a bunch of people that I think you should do this, and if you don't, I'll hurt you, they're going to be like, well, fuck, we're going to hurt you right now. So we're all going to band together and we're going to hurt you. But if you come out and say, I've been spoken to by a deity from the heavens that I can't explain to you and I can't show you, but he told me that if you don't listen to my word, which comes directly from him through me, if you don't do that, you will suffer an eternity after death of, hellfire and brimstone. And if it seems like a real easy way to control masses of people is to threaten them with the unknown.
Right. I mean, why else? I mean, they threaten you with you're going to go to hell if you don't abide by, God's word. Okay. You know where we go when we die? We go to hell. But hell is what Christians believe is heaven. Hell for us is what Christians believe is heaven. It's a place that we go, and see, we have different spots where we go when we die. We can go to when we die. We have Valhalla, we have hell, we have Freya's realm as well. And contrary to what people believe, that everybody, if you're a warrior and you die in battle, you go to Valhalla. And that's why I thought it was funny with Kash Patel and his little thing about seeing Valhalla. It's like, no. Because Freya has first choice on who goes to her realm first. And then whoever is left goes to Valhalla if you die in battle. You have to die in battle or in some symbolistic way like that to end up in a place like that. If you die of old age, if you die from, you kill yourself, whatever, or, if you're just murdered, you go to hell. And the goddess Hel, which is Loki's daughter, is the ruler of hell. And we can get into Loki's children as well, if you'd like. Yeah,
let's do it. Because, I mean, I'm already fascinated by the different realms and the Valhallas and the Hells. And so what you're, just to clarify what we've talked about in this brief couple of moments real quick. Hell to a pagan is that the right reference to call you guys pagans, or should I say Norse pagans? What's the correct addressmanship?
Pagan, Norse pagan, heathen. I mean, it's all the same to us.
All right. So you've got the pagans, and like you said, when you guys die outside of battle, you go to hell. But if I took it correctly, you referenced the pagan hell as resemblant of the Christian heaven.
Yeah. And the hell, just so people understand, it's not, our hell is not spelled Hell. It's Hel for the goddess Hel.
Okay. And that's her name is Hel.
Yeah.
So that's really weird.
That's where we go.
That was around first, and then all of a sudden the Christians popped up with another L.
Yeah, right. Oh wait, just wait. There's a lot more similarities that you guys are going to learn today. So yeah, I mean, and that's where we go. And she takes care of the dead, and because she's half dead as well. So she's half alive and half dead. So she takes care of us, takes care of the dead, and we just, the dead just walk and roam freely. And like this time of the year, especially the veil's very thin. That's our belief as of Halloween, because we have a lot of different blots and all that stuff. That's for an entirely different show, to be honest with you. Because I mean, you're going down a hole that has a lot more facets to it. To talk about stuff like that.
Like the Feast of All Saints is what I'm looking at here.
Oh yeah, the Feast of All Saints.
Yeah, it's about the Halloween. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be something else. Yeah. Yes. Otherwise, we call it Samhain, which is a celebration. So we love Halloween because that it means something to us. But yeah, to get back on track, sorry about that. When talking about this, I can go in so many fucking directions. My mind goes like a million miles a minute. So I apologize, folks.
Well, so does mine. Everybody knows my shit show. Like I'll be at the grocery store in 2 minutes from now, out of nowhere. So,
So we go to hell, and it's kind of I don't want to say that and depict it as a dreary place, but like kind of if you can picture it, it's you're not going to have sun. It's going to be kind of like a cloudy place, but you're free to do whatever you want to do and live out the rest of eternity. We do believe in reincarnation as well. So that's kind of the waiting ground that you go to as well. So, if there is reincarnation or something like that, that you go back. So
sounds a lot like
we
Portland.
Also, yeah.
It's just gray and fucking dreary, but not necessarily, brimstone and hellfire.
And the only one that's ever gotten out of hell was Balder.
That's interesting. And now, who is Balder? What is his relation to this whole storyline?
Oh, the god Balder. He is the god of light. Everybody loves him. All creatures love him. Loki hated him.
So he's kind of like the Christian Jesus in a sense, or the
Christian he is God. The Christian Jesus.
Okay,
he is the Christian Jesus. There's a lot of similarities between Balder and Jesus.
This is so good.
Well, I mean, you look at Jesus and everything that he's about in the Bible and all that stuff. Balder was all about that. So, and when the death of Balder happens, is the coming of Ragnarok, which is Armageddon, or whatever it is in the Christian Bible. It's the same thing. So when Balder is murdered or killed, that's when Armageddon happens. So the gods did everything they could to protect Balder. Frigg went to every creature, every person, all that stuff to make sure that everybody was good with Balder, so Balder wouldn't be killed. Basically gave him immunity to everything except for one thing: mistletoe.
What? Oh God, mistletoe. This is getting better and better.
So, and Loki knew this. So the only place that you can go get this mistletoe was far away, and which Loki went, and according to the stories, Loki went and got the mistletoe, made it into an arrow. And the gods were, the blind god Holder was down with all the other gods, throwing stuff at Balder, and it was just bouncing off. Nothing was penetrating him. And Loki, who disguised himself as Holder's brother, convinced the blind god to throw this mistletoe dart at Balder, which ended up killing him, which starts Ragnarok.
So why did they want to kill Balder?
Loki wanted to kill him because he didn't like the attention he was getting.
Jealousy.
Yes, because Balder was the second, according to Ragnarok, and everything that you read about Ragnarok, all the gods die in Ragnarok. Thor dies, Odin dies. Vidar avenges his father, Odin, by ripping Fenrir's mouth wide open. And the only gods that come back, and that's when Balder comes back, is after Ragnarok, because he becomes the leader of the gods, and then you have Thor's children, Magnus, and I forgot his other son, that are the only ones allowed to wield Mjolnir, because Thor was the only one that was able to before. So when that happened, then you have Ragnarok, and it turns into this big battle because Loki started it because of jealousy, and then after it's all said and done, the Earth is reborn again, and you have Balder at the helm.
So when you, if you're practicing in this religion now, are you actually? Well, I don't know that you pray to a god. How does that work? Let's get into that first. Like if you're worshiping, we'll call it for lack of a better term, if you're worshiping as a pagan, who are you actually sending your vibes to?
Well, if you're on a boat, Njord would be the god to provide you with safety in the open, the seas and stuff like that. So you would honor that god, and we don't pray to gods; we honor them.
Okay, so what's the difference between honoring and praying? And
honoring them is you give you can talk to them just like how we're talking. They give you what you need to, how do I put this? They give you what you need to kind of, keep going, like advice, wisdom, stuff like that. They, like how people always pray to, the Christian God, God, please do this for me. They don't do it for you, but they give you the tools so you are able to do it for yourself.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, but I mean, again, you would pray or not pray, talk to Njord and give an offering to him on, for safe travels. You would ask Odin for wisdom and guidance, and give an offering, food, mead, stuff like that. Those are all considered offerings.
Interesting. So that's kind of how I, like when we, before the show, I messaged you and I said, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do my rituals or whatever. And then I jokingly said, I was like, what is that? Like bloodletting of a lamb. And you said, well, I'd have to do 9. And so it's kind of that's the offering to the gods. So in essence, you're not honoring a god, you're honoring the gods, right? Is that correct?
Yes. All of them. All of them. Now, if it's something specific, like with farming and stuff like that, then you're going to want to, try to honor like Thor even more with something. If you're like, you want the wisdom and the knowledge and stuff like that, you're going to honor Odin, and so, there's gods are, there's different things that you honor different gods for. Like Freya, you would honor for, fertility and stuff like that. Frigg, you would honor for, peace with your family and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's different gods that you make offerings to for different situations.
That's interesting. And as we're talking about this, I want to interject real quick, and then I want to get back to Valhalla and hell and all that. As we're talking about this, and I've had some conversations with Greek mythologists too, where, they have multiple gods in their past or their history. Again, to touch on what I was saying about the method of control, it almost seems as though the more I talk about these polytheistic ideologies and theory sets with people, it seems like Christianity was and Judeo-Christianity, it was almost what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically kind of programming the followers of the religion to believe that only one person can be in control, and there is no panel, there is no board of gods. You have to bow to one person, and that seems like a human characteristic to want that desire of power being consolidated to only one person. It almost seems like it's grooming, for lack of better terms. By teaching everybody that there is one God and he's all powerful, he's all knowing, he's all this and that and the other thing. And I am the one who speaks through him, who he speaks through. It seems like that would be another a level of potential structure of control.
Yeah. No,
rather
it is.
than
100%.
seems like Norse paganism and Greek mythology. It seems like that was really a more of a democratic sense of running things.
Oh, well, if you want to get into the culture of like the Norse, I mean, they honored their women. They allowed divorce, allowed women to own land. You know, they were so ahead of their time. You know, they even like people think of the Norse and they were dirty. They were actually probably some of the cleanest people in the world at that time. They bathed at least once a week. They had combs. They, you know, shit like that. I
Hey,
mean,
wait a
they
minute! I
took
thought a black woman in the 1950s invented combs.
Fuck no. No, it was the Norse that invented a comb.
No, I got to slide that in there. But yeah, that's and to touch on that, I've actually, you know, a couple of friends of mine we got into these conversations with, and they said people called the Vikings pigs back in the day, and it's like pigs are one of the cleanest animals. Just because they got mud on them doesn't mean they ain't clean. They're actually very, very clean animals. So they didn't actually end up taking it as an insult, and that pissed off everybody.
Yeah. No, I mean they were probably even cleaner than the French and the British and all that stuff. I mean, and they treated their kin like no other culture did at that time. You know, they honored women. I mean, women back in those days were like on like a pedestal, like, and they didn't. It wasn't necessarily the pedestal was like, you know, more so for honoring them for everything that they do, but there was also a lot of women that were warriors in that time. That, you know, you go to, you know, England and France and all that stuff. Not one woman, but you would have women on those fucking boats raiding.
Yeah, I do. I have read a lot of that. I've with women being basically they were equal to men on the battlefield, but above men in the homestead is kind of what I've read. So you know, on the battlefield, nobody looked at anybody with tits or a dick differently than the other. But on the homestead, if you fuck with my woman, I will rain down hell upon your entire fucking lineage.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what happened.
I think that's fucking phenomenal. Like, I really do. I like that.
And the fact women were allowed divorce too, you know, and if you did get divorced, if they, you know, and for rightful cause, like if you beat your woman, they would have like, I want to say it was probably like once a month down in by the Great Hall. They would have a time for everybody to bring up their complaints and all that stuff. So if say like a man was beating his wife, she would bring it up, and the governor or the mayor, however you want to put it in today's terms, the ruler of that area would make a ruling on it, essentially saying like, yeah, you were in the wrong. And if you were found in the wrong, they were allowed to get divorced. But the caveat to that is the guy that was doing it was banished.
Yeah, that's all. I love that shit.
And the woman was allowed to keep everything.
I love
the
that
homestead,
shit.
everything.
You're a fucking piece of shit to this woman. That means you're a piece of shit to everybody. You're just waiting for your opportunity. You get the fuck out of here. I like that. Yep. I like the fuck out of that, really.
Yeah, they would get branded. From what I read, they would get branded and basically thrown out of the gates of the cities. And that brand would be where everybody can see them and see it, and you cannot get rid of it. So with that, I mean, you can go to another city thinking that you're going to be okay. Once they see that, you're gone.
Yeah.
You
so
know,
let's get to. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that was for murderers at that time too. Murderers would get branded and thrown out. That's why Eric the Red, he left. He had no choice but to leave Norway and stuff like that and go to Iceland. That's where they found first, not Greenland, Iceland, and go there. And that's why he was banished there.
Interesting. So let's rewind a little bit. Let's get back to the Valhalla hell thing and the different realms. So Valhalla is do we have a description of what Valhalla is, what it might appear to be, what it might feel like?
Well, you have a Bifrost, bridge that is guarded by Heimdall. It connects Midgard, which is Earth, with Asgard. So Hemendal guards that bridge, and then it goes into kind of
Asgard
like
is
this.
what? Asgard is the city of the gods or something?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, okay, we're talking about Asgard here. All right, Valhalla. Sorry, let's rewind it. Let's take that back. I was going off. I was going on Asgard for a second. So Valhalla, it's like Odin's Hall. It's basically just this big room. That I'm assuming that's probably in like some sort of like big ass like medieval kind of castle. That's kind of how I imagine it to be. And all the dead go there and they recreate it. They just play the same day over and over again until it's time for, Ragnarok. That's where all these people go. So there's nothing but feasting. They fight with each other. They drink with each other. And then it's just, they keep doing it until Ragnarok. And then more people come in, more warriors come in, and the cycle just continues.
And so now for the average person, they're going to hear that and they're going to say that doesn't sound like fun. That doesn't sound like a good place to be. But
It's a great place to be.
But when we're looking at when we're looking at it through the eyes of a warrior who lived their life to fight and to eat and to party, that's the end goal, right? Is to just do that kind of for eternity.
Yeah. Well, and everybody, when back in those days, everybody wanted to go to Valhalla. Everybody did. So one way or another, they were going to try to figure out a way to be able to go to Valhalla. So that's why you would have elderly people battling in those battles as well, because they didn't want to die a regular death. They wanted to die an honorable death, a noble death. And by doing so, that gets you into Valhalla, or gets you into Freya's hall as well.
And Freya's hall is different?
Yes, Freya's hall is different, but it's kind of the same. Okay. It's essentially the same thing, but since Freya, because the Valkyrie usher people to which hall that they're going to, which Freya has control over the Valkyrie. I mean, obviously Odin has top control over the Valkyrie, but Freya has control over a certain amount of them. But I guess you could say the deal that was made was she gets first choice. So she takes the greatest and the baddest of them all before Odin gets them.
Gotcha. So basically what we're looking at is if you die a normal death, old age, you're not necessarily a bad human being, you've lived a long life. No. You die of cancer, old age, something like that, you go to hell, which is not the hell that Christians are familiar with, or anybody nowadays is familiar with. It's essentially kind of like America with in like right before a rainstorm. Like you just walk through life and do your thing, and just that's where you are forever. You're just doing your thing. And then Valhalla is the place where if you die an honorable death for fighting for your people, your land, whatever it might be, that's where you go to get rowdy for the rest of eternity, pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is there any other places that were or realms or
any other realms? Yeah, there's a lot of realms. There's 9 of them.
Well, I mean, in death. How about that?
No,
or
those
are the 2 places.
Those are like the 3 places: Valhalla, Freya's hall, and hell are the 3 places you're going to go to.
So do the pagans have something that we would actually relate closer to what we know as hell, the suffering, the pain, the torture? Do they have anything like that, or
nope?
That's yet another interesting cog in the wheel as far as this structure of control is. A religion took over, addition to, I'm not going to recycle everything or rehash everything, but everything I've said about the control structure of religion, it would seem as though was implemented again for control, because it came from a religion that didn't have a negative outcome. It didn't have, like the worst you could do is just keep on doing you. But now when these other religions pop up, all of a sudden we've got this place where you got to fucking obey what I tell you, or you're going there and you don't want to go there. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when we die, where we're at right now in Midgard, that's Earth. I guess if there's a hell, this would be our hell.
Yeah. Well, that's what
No.
that's kind of what it sounded like to me when you described it. It sounds like America before a rainstorm. Like it's just dreary and gray, but you're just doing your thing. You're not necessarily suffering that much. You're just kind of doing your thing.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. I mean,
now let's go. The realm thing is interesting to me because I know some Mormons, and Mormons have a couple of different realms that they have. And now I'm listening to you talking about paganism, and there's 9 realms. I believe the Mormons have 3 realms or 7 realms. I'm not sure, but the pagan realms, I'd be curious to know about.
no, no, don't you guys have like a world tree or something like that, Christians?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think Christians give a fuck about anything but just
Yeah, I think
being nice to
Christians
each other.
have something. Christians have like this world tree, right? So do we. It's called Yggdrasil. and all the realms are connected to it. Or the life tree or whatever the Christians want to call it.
Oh yeah, the Tree of Life. I'm thinking Warcraft now because I'm a nerd. I'm a game nerd and I'm a WoW head. So we have the Tree of Life. But that got burnt to a crisp by Lady Sylvanas. But that's just game stuff. So tell me about these. Tell me about the realms. We don't have to go overly detailed. But what are these realms? Are they different? Like if you fuck up, you go here. If you're nice, you go there. Or...
No, I mean basically you have Asgard. Asgard's a realm. You have like Valheim, which is where the Vanir gods are, which they're more magical gods that toy with those type of things. Like Freya is from Valheim, but they had a battle between Asgard and Valheim for a number of years, and then they had a truce, and which allowed them the Asgard along with them to start marrying each other and kind of make peace. So then you have Midgard, which is here, Earth. Jotunheim, which is where the giants are. Alfheim, that's basically the realm of the elves. Elves were very mythical, and they were often enemies of the gods. So we didn't like them too much. They didn't like them too much. You had the realm of the dwarves that were skilled craftsmen. They actually did they did Odin's spear. They made Odin's spear. They made the Mjolnir for Thor, and which Loki was trying to get them to screw that up. But actually, by what Loki did, being a flying in there and creating the handle smaller, actually just kind of helped it out, I guess. So, retrospect, thank you, Loki. So, you have Niflheim, which is the realm of ice and cold, that comes into play a lot towards like Ragnarok a little bit, but that's kind of Niflheim, I should say. Hold on, let me back that up. I apologize. I'm getting Niflheim and the one other area. Niflheim is kind of like Hell's domain. My apologies. And you have and I sorry if I'm pronouncing these wrong. So Mesfelheim, I believe it's pronounced. That's the one that's realm of fire and heat. That's where I guess what Christians would probably consider hell.
Gotcha.
That's kind of that one. And then you have Helheim, which is basically hell.
That's awesome. That's interesting.
So the goddess Hel has her own little, Niflheim, her own little place where she can go, but she is ruler of her Helheim or Hell. We like to call it Hell. So
okay, so Hell and Helheim is the same thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
Okay,
just shortened version.
That's a lot to keep straight.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this of the world tree, and the way you guys spell this is very hard to make out. Yggdrasil.
Yggdrasil.
What?
It's a tongue twister. Yggdrasil. I have a hard time fucking pronouncing it, but yeah, Yggdrasil.
Hey, this is awesome. I love this. This is great. I love learning new shit about stuff I didn't understand, didn't know. Okay, so now as life goes on, do you guys have the pagans, Norse pagans, Vikings? Do you guys have a code that you live by? Like every day, it's like the Christians were like, don't fuck your neighbor's wife, and try not to do this and that. Do you guys have a code of any sort that you live by?
Honor your ancestors, honor your kin, honor the gods.
Is that not really fucked up? I got to keep bringing this back because every time you say something like that, I think it's important to point out that, again, the structure of control of religion, nothing about modern religion in any fucking way says honor your people, honor your fellow selves, it's like love thy neighbor, but that's that. I feel like that's got a much lighter connotation to it than honor your kin, honor the gods, just be neat.
Yeah, we also honor our ancestors as well, because without our ancestors, we wouldn't be where we're at.
Well, and that's another thing is because they're all trying to get rid of identity in all shapes and facets now of modern people. This time of modernity is all about erasure of people's identity, and identity comes largely from your ancestors, if not solely. Your gods and your God and your ancestors is what creates your identity, and they're trying to erase that. But we've got the pagans saying that that's the number one thing you should be honoring.
Yep. Yeah, and oaths for us, and loyalty is very big. If you make an oath, you keep that oath, because if you don't, then you will be judged by Odin, and Odin is not a forgiving god at all. None of the gods are. They're not very forgiving.
Well, you have to be a bad dad to get shit done. Yeah, that's again another weird one's like, oh, my God's so forgiving. Yeah, not my God. So you better, because that's really, when it comes to Christianity, one of the biggest sticking points for me is the way people, and I don't know if it's an interpretation or if it actually is how it's supposed to be. And I'm gonna get Scotty Sieverts on here one day, and he's fucking dude. The guy's he knows the Bible inside and out. He lives and feels this stuff, and he's brilliant. And he doesn't portray the information in a sense that is like all forgiving on Christianity. It's real. Right. But one of the things that oh fuck, I lost my train of thought. I'm gonna get him on here to talk about it because what you just said. What the fuck did you just say? I caught a glimpse of a note that I wrote myself, and I fucking scattered my brain into an ant farm.
Let me see. We talked about honoring the gods, honoring your kin, honoring your ancestors. Any of that ringing a bell?
Damn it! I lost the thought.
I feel like we're on Jeopardy right now.
Taking these fucking notes off of my desk. All these fucking notes off my desk. But yeah,
I have fidget stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Scotty Sieverts on here because he can break down the Bible and the biblical scriptures and all that stuff in a manner that makes sense and isn't so forgiving. That's where the thought is I don't like this modern interpretation of Christianity where everybody thinks like I can go kill my neighbor, I can go steal his car, I can go beat people in the street, I can go set people's homes on fires, I can burn down businesses, and all I got to do is say, hey God, I'm really sorry, and everything's fine.
Well, and see, and that's one thing I don't understand as far as like with Christianity. I mean, I know what Jesus died on the cross for everybody's sins, right? I mean, that's essentially what happened.
Yeah.
He died for everybody's sins. So isn't it committing these crimes and murder a sin? So therefore, well, Jesus already died for our sins, so why should I be held accountable?
It does. And, the more you think about it, the more it just seems kind of, and I'm not disparaging Christianity. I still consider myself Christian until I become a pagan one day, but
soon.
Yeah,
soon.
I think it's coming because I don't like a lot of the things. And you know what? Here is it's not Christianity itself. It's It's the fan club. It's a lot of things. It's like I was just talking to my fucking dude. I was just talking to Rick Morgan. He's on Instagram as the Real Bearded One, and we were having some really, 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 really deep, good conversations yesterday on through Instagram, through video chats and stuff. And because he's such a fucking amazing human being, and we found out that we have so much in common. But I was talking to him, and it's really weird just how people act. And no matter how they act, they always seem to use Jesus as the catch-all. They always seem to use Christianity as like, oh, it's fine, I'm a Christian. All these debts have already been paid. I can just come out here and act like a piece of shit, and it doesn't sit well with me. Like, the more I talk about it, the more I say these things out loud. Again, I'm not disparaging Christians and Christianity. It's just, I can't help but I can't help but look at it through the lens that God has given me. Whatever God you may want to refer to that as. In my life, I was devoid of any sort of belief structure, and then as an adult, I found it. And I think that's a blessing, because I have this ability to not be blinded by the narrative. I have this ability to not be blinded by this notion that everybody is totally allowed to act like a total fucking shit pile, not do anything good for anybody, and then be saved. When you've got people like Rick Morgan out there who do amazing fucking things and have done amazing fucking things and are amazing people. And they get to go, and they go to the same place when we die. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, you know.
Right.
When we talk about the paganism and this polytheistic ideology and unforgiving gods, it seems a lot more the way it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seems like gods shouldn't be so like, yeah, just go to do it. I mean, the more I think about it, it just seems like people have turned Jesus. Now, whether he is or is not, I have no idea. I'm not at all an authority on any of this stuff. But it seems like modern Christians have turned Jesus into an iPad mom. Like, just grab your iPad and go the fuck away. Whatever you do is fine. Just go the fuck away.
Well, let me ask you this. When was Jesus born?
Yeah, good question.
When was he born?
0 hour. I don't know. Because
he wasn't born on Christmas.
Oh no, it was like July or August or something, and then they moved it to coincide with the winter solstice from the paganism from the pagans.
Yep.
Yeah, that's. I was just, let's break into that here, because I've got a list here. 20 things Christianity has borrowed from paganism.
Stolen.
Yeah, we're gonna say stolen, because that's really what it is.
Even the Jewish people stole from us too.
The number one thing that comes up on the list of 20 things, we will call it stolen from paganism, is Christmas celebrations. And I'm gonna go through these. I'm gonna read these little one by one. I'll read these descriptions here. So, Christmas celebrations, and they're very short. One of the most widely recognized examples of stolen shit from fucking paganism. The date, December 25th, aligns with the Roman festival of Saturnalia, a time of feasting and gift-giving. Additionally, the celebration of the winter solstice, called Yule by the pagans, marked by many pagan traditions, brought elements such as the Yule log and evergreen decorations into Christmas festivities.
Do you know who Saint Nick is?
You're going to tell me.
Odin. That's what
really?
They always thought. They always thought that Saint Nick was Odin.
The Great Father Winter is actually Odin. So what is the Saturnalia? Is that a pagan thing, or is that somebody else?
That is kind of a pagan thing, but not really our thing.
Okay.
Too much. For us, Yule is like 12 days of celebration. It goes from winter solstice until about January 2nd-ish. So it kind of ironic, you have the Jewish
8
one?
Crazy days and 8 crazy nights of Hanukkah. That's interesting.
Very, isn't it?
Let's go to number 2. Easter traditions. Easter, which commemorates the resurrection of Jesus, incorporates several elements from pagan spring festivals. The name Easter itself is believed to be derived from Eostor or Eostre, a Germanic goddess of spring and fertility. Symbols like chicks and rabbits representing new life and fertility also have pagan origins.
Correct.
What's that guy? What's the god's name? Ostre for Easter.
Yeah.
Eostre.
Eostre.
Number 3, the Christmas tree. The tradition of decorating a tree during the winter holidays can be traced back to pagan practices. Ancient pagans would decorate trees with ornaments to honor deities and celebrate the return of the sun during the winter solstice.
Yep. And your Christmas wreaths and stuff like that, they would put them up on as well. They would make those and a Yule log as well.
I did hear something about the wreaths being pagan because it symbolized the cycle of life and death, where because it's technically made out of dead things, but it's the circle of life. Don't quote me on that, but I read that somewhere. Yeah. The next thing, number 4, and this, and in case you're interested in seeing any of these, I'm getting this on clausenbooks.com/20 things Christianity borrowed from the pagans / whatever. The number 4, Sunday worship. The practice of worshiping on Sunday, the Lord's Day, has roots in pagan sun worship. Sunday was the day dedicated to the sun god in Roman culture, and early Christians adopted this day for their own religious observances.
Yep. We honor the god Sol.
That's S-O-L, right?
Yep. And then the other Mondays for the moon. Mana.
I love this shit. Number 5, saints and martyrs. The veneration of saints in Christianity has parallels with the pagan practice of honoring local gods and heroes. Many early Christian saints were assigned to dates that corresponded with earlier pagan festivals, allowing for a smoother transition to the new faith. And that's what you touched on earlier. I don't know, maybe it wasn't in the episode, maybe it was in our pre-show chat that we always have, that everything that Christianity seems to have done in the beginning was in an effort to make it easier to slide all of these people from one belief system to the new.
Correct.
Okay. Here's
so
another
this
one.
way there wasn't any extra learning. It just made it just a lot easier to convert them.
Well, and that would go to the one God thing. Like, it's so much easier to just pray to one God and look at come over here. It's way easier. You don't have to know all that shit. You don't have to think all that shit.
Yeah.
Number 6, the halo. The halo we're speaking of, I'm going to describe is, they show a picture that looks like Jesus, but it's got a halo around him. In the back, like the Catholic saints have behind him. The halo, commonly depicted around the heads of saints and holy figures in Christian art, has its origins in pagan iconography. Ancient Greeks and Romans used halos to signify divine or sacred status in their art. Number 7, holy water. The use of holy water for purification and blessing in Christian rituals is reminiscent of similar practices in pagan religions. Many ancient cultures, including the Romans and Greeks, used water in their religious ceremonies to cleanse and protect.
Yes, along with sage.
This sounds pretty familiar, Christians.
Sage and incense as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. Candles. Every time I think of incense, I think of Hindu and Hindi, that kind of shit. But it's just because it stinks. But
yeah, we like to use sage a lot to get rid our homes of negative energy, our bodies of negative energy. And
that seems to be a big thing in all religions. Almost is the burning of sage to release evil spirits and entities. Number 8, the candles and lamps. The use of candles and lamps in Christian rituals, such as during Mass and or in votive offerings, can be traced back to pagan practices. Lighting candles was a common way to honor deities and seek their favor in ancient religious traditions. Number 9, the cross. What's that?
Fun fact on that one. For Norse pagans, we have altars. Yeah. That's where we go to when we really want to honor the gods and stuff like that. There's no right or wrong way to honor the gods, But when we go there, one of the key things that we have on our altars is candles.
That's interesting. This is awesome. Number 9, the cross. Woo, we're shaking some foundations here. The cross, a central symbol of Christianity, was used as a sacred symbol in various pagan cultures well before the rise of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like they kind of glued a dude to it and then called it their own thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's another one having to do with that, on that same topic. The ancient Egyptians, for example, used the Ankh, a cross-like symbol, to represent life and immortality.
Yep.
The concept of the Trinity. While the Christian doctrine of the Trinity is unique, the idea of a triune Godhead has parallels in several pagan traditions. Many ancient religions, including those of the Egyptians, Greeks, and Hindus, worship triads of deities. 11, festivals and feast days. Many Christian feast days coincide with or were adopted from pagan festivals. For example, the Feast of All Saints, parentheses Halloween, is closely linked to the Celtic version of Samhain, a time to honor the dead and celebrate the end of the harvest season. And we touched on that earlier. You celebrate Samhain. And for all you guys out there, please stop calling it Celtic. They're not I get it. We know the Boston Celtics says that, but it's really not Celtic. It's fucking Celtic. Please stop saying Celtic.
Celtic.
Fuck you.
I just
the Virgin. What you? Yeah, you had to. Yeah, I know you had to because you got to be a fucking thorn on my side every now and then. But that's why you're here, because somebody's got to be. 12. Here's another one. The virgin birth. The concept of a virgin birth is not unique to Christianity. Various pagan myths feature gods born to virgin mothers, including the Egyptian god Horus and the Persian god Mithras, which, if you don't know anything about Mithras, look him up because it's the Statue of Liberty. These stories likely influenced the Christian narrative of Jesus's birth.
Fun fact. The Virgin Mary was also, they like to, frig.
Yeah.
Kind of stolen from her.
Yeah. Yeah. We're seeing a lot of parallels here.
Mm-hmm.
Number 13, baptism. The Christian sacrament of baptism has similarities to ancient pagan purification rites. Many cultures practice ritual bathing or washing as a means of spiritual cleansing and rebirth, a concept that carries through in Christian baptism.
Every Saturday. Saturday is bathing day.
Really? So I've been doing this wrong the whole time. I've been bathing almost every day.
Well, now we have to bathe every day, but back then Saturdays were, edged out for them to bathe and to do those type of things.
That's interesting.
Or Saturn Day.
Yeah, Saturnalia Day, Saturn, the worship of Saturn. Yeah. That's interesting. I listen to that kind of some of that stuff. Sam Tripoli he's one of my favorite humans out there. He's just who the fuck he is at all times, and I can really appreciate that. He owns everything that he's ever done. He's a comedian. He's got like 27,000 podcasts that he does, but he talks about the Saturn worship every now and then when it comes down into it. If you're interested in any of his shows, there's Tinfoil Hat, Broken Simulation, Conspiracy Social Club, aka Deep Waters, and Doom Scrolling. I think he does, I don't know if he's still doing Zero, which is his religious podcast. Check into those. He's got different hosts, different co-hosts on many of them. He does Cash Daddies if you're into money making on crypto and investment and stuff like that. Look into all of those. Number 14, Easter eggs. Shit's just getting deeper and deeper, man. The tradition of decorating and hiding eggs during Easter has pagan roots. Eggs were a symbol of new life and fertility in many ancient cultures and were used in springtime festivals celebrating renewal and rebirth.
Yep.
We got number 15, the Eucharist. The Christian practice of the Eucharist, or Holy Communion, where believers consume bread and wine representing the body and blood of Christ, has parallels with pagan rituals involving the symbolic consumption of the deity's body and blood. Who's ready for number 16? This is going to shake some motherfuckers. Number 16, Christmas carols. Many Christmas carols and hymns have melodies and themes that can be traced back to pagan songs celebrating the winter solstice. These festive tunes were adapted to fit Christian themes and celebrations. And
I have to stop you there. You're gonna like some of your listeners' heads are gonna explode.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, they're about to right now because we just talked about this. We just made mention of this, and number 17 is going to pop their fucking heads off of their shoulders.
Drum roll, please.
Number 17, the Virgin Mary. The veneration of the Virgin Mary in Christianity has echoes of ancient goddess worship. Many pagan cultures revered mother goddesses such as Isis in Egypt and Demeter in Greece, who embodied fertility, motherhood, and compassion.
Frig.
Yeah, frig.
Sorry.
Number 18, holy relics. What the fuck, man? They're just, one fuck ColinLawsonBooks.com is just tearing this shit apart. The Christian practice of venerating holy relics such as bones of saints or objects associated with Jesus has parallels in pagan traditions. Many ancient religions held sacred objects and relics in high regard, believing that they held divine power. Mm-hmm. Number 19, pilgrimages. The tradition of pilgrimage in Christianity, such as traveling to Jerusalem or the shrine of the saint, has roots in pagan practices. Pagans often made pilgrimages to sacred sites to seek blessings, healing, or divine favor. And number 20, last on this list, which I'm sure a lot of people are thankful for, if they haven't turned it off already. Number 20, sacred architecture, like churches. Ooh. The design and architecture of Christian churches with their grandiose structures, stained glass windows, and intricate carvings draw inspiration from pagan temples. Many architectural elements, such as columns and domes, have been incorporated from ancient pagan fucking buildings.
Well, do you want to really blow your listeners' minds?
Let's do it.
You know that your churches were built on the grounds that our temples were?
So are you saying they tore down the temples and then built the churches?
Mm-hmm. Our great halls and all that stuff. And that's where they built their churches.
That's a lot like what the Muslims are doing to the Christians right now. They're tearing down the churches and building mosques right on the same locations. Isn't that weird how history repeats itself?
Yep. But let's not talk about that.
No, we don't want to talk about that. That'll shake too many foundations. But that's what we're here to do. I mean, we're here to just access the reality of things. And this is the reality of things. The reality of things, the more you look into it, is everything is stolen from something else. And when we find our way back to the roots of things, it does seem as though it leads back to pagan tradition, pagan culture, pagan religious beliefs.
Oh, yeah. And believe me, this conversation we're having, we can have this for hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I actually probably days.
Yeah.
You can literally probably set up a camera at a place and you and I could sit down and we could probably talk for well over a week just on this shit.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
It's just that fucking crazy.
I mean, we could just break down that flag that's sitting behind you with all the runes on it, and that would take a fucking at least an hour, you know?
Oh, yeah, because each one of those runes is a different letter.
Yeah. I recognize that one. I'm pointing like you can fucking see the screen.
I can't see it.
I'm looking at the, let's say, what is that, a phoenix or an eagle or something?
Oh, yeah, that's a phoenix.
Okay, so his head is pointing to what looks to be a square rune of some sort, and then you go north, you go up to the top, and then you've got that S kind of looking one, and then you've got that septum piercing looking one, and then the one after that. That is what's that? That's the one I'm looking at. That's which one?
That's a rune of protection.
That is what a lot of the skinheads have tattooed on them.
Yeah, well, they probably don't know the exact fucking meaning of it. And that's actually, we use that for protection in a lot of our rituals. Actually, I carry a set of runes in my pocket every day. And one of them is protection.
What is the rune that I know? It looks. I don't see it depicted there on that particular flag that you've got there, but it looks like a. Here, I'll just draw it real quick, and then I'll fucking put it up in the camera. Oh no! Don't look at the notes. Don't look at the notes. I don't want to look at the notes.
Now, I do have something that, just so your listeners know, and my listeners when they watch and listen to this, I do have a like little tapestry with all the ruins on it that I haven't gotten down here yet because I'm redoing my set. That will be up here that will depict what each rune means.
Gotcha. Well, what's this one? It's something like that. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, that's
I don't know if there's too many lines on that, but it's something like that.
That's kind of another protection thing. Okay. That's a tier. Okay. Each god has its own rune, and that one is kind of like Tyr's rune goes like that with the arrow and stuff. So yeah, that's and Tyr's the god of war.
Okay, so
God of war and God of treaties.
So that's why it looks like a tree. Okay,
treaty.
Oh,
like
treaty. Okay, gotcha. That's interesting though that they make the same God in charge of not only war but peace as well. I think I like Odin the shit out of that.
Well, and Odin, as far as Odin, he was a god of war, god of poetry, god of wisdom, the All-Father. Odin, Jesus was crucified on a cross, right?
Yeah.
Odin sacrificed himself to himself on the world tree with a spear in his side to gain the knowledge of the ruins. And
that's a lot. And I want to tie this in real quick.
Oh, hold on. And he did it for 9 days. That's why 9 is so significant among Norse paganism.
Well, I want to point out something else here. Okay, so we've got, what is it? What the fuck is that spear named that supposedly killed Jesus? It's not the Ark of the Covenant. It's the spear that fucking they say killed Jesus, and he got it in the side, and that's really kind of funny that Odin killed himself with a spear
with his own spear.
Yeah,
he purposely did that for 9 days, and he hung from the tree of life.
This is unreal. This is unfucking real.
Odin's spear was Gungnir.
And let's look up the fucking spear that killed Jesus real quick here, or that they suspect did. The Holy Lance, Spear of Destiny. Yeah, I'm coming up with a lot of things that say Holy Lance and Spear of Destiny. So yeah, it pierced Jesus's side, and blood and water flowed out. It's like every fucking time you turn around, it's something from Christianity is just blatantly taken from paganism.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't mean to turn you guys off. You know what? If we're going to be real, which is, we got to be real about everything. So let me please just throw this call to you people out there, to all the listeners. If you can be real with me about racial injustices, racial inadequacies, racial fucking inequalities, you can be real with me about gender inequalities, and you can be real with me about everything else. We're going to have to be real about this. None of this is to say, I want to really put an emphasis on this. This is not to tear down Christianity. This is just to access where we've gotten some of our traditions, or all of our traditions, or where this came from. I want to do one. I've got a guy that's a Muslim, and he's willing to, he's going to do faceless if we do it. But we're going to basically do the same thing with Islam. We're going to tear that shit apart, where it came from, and things like that. So guys, we're just being real here. We're not trying to tear down. I'm not trying to tear down, and I know Dave isn't either. We're not trying to tear down your belief structure. We're not trying to tell you it's wrong. We're not trying to tell you shouldn't believe in it. We're not doing anything but saying where it came from, because this is where it came from, and the Bible openly admits that there are certain borrowed value. I think it was like borrowed values or something. So,
well, And like for us, we have the Havamal, which is Odin's words. And basically Odin's words is how you're supposed to act, be moral and stuff like that. And a lot of people like to depict Norse pagans as a bunch of just drunk alcoholics, whatever. Odin actually was against drinking because it messed with the mind.
It's awesome. That is very, very interesting.
However, when warriors went into battle, mushrooms does play a big role in our belief system. Magic mushrooms. A lot of the warriors, berserkers, would take a god dose, so to speak, of mushrooms before battle and go in and just destroy everything. So when you send those guys, they were called berserkers, or there's other names for those different warriors. These guys would go in and just you did not get in their way, because if you got in the way, because they're under this trance from the mushrooms, everybody would die in their way. And you cannot stop them.
Like German troops in World War II being geeked out of their fucking domes on meth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Germanic, Norse, they kind of go hand in hand.
That's really this is really interesting. You know what? I think let's get to the days of the week, and then we're going to wrap this shit up, and then we'll do a part 2 a little bit later. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because we're at an hour and a half, so
yeah, we can keep going.
Yeah, and I want to do a part 2, and I want to prep some more shit. This is incredibly fucking interesting to me, and I'm loving the shit out of this. Let's go through the days of the week. Where do the days of the week come from that we know in modern society?
Okay, so days of the week for us, and what everybody's so used to is like Monday through Sunday. So Monday was originally called Mana Day. Tuesday was Tyr Day. Wednesday was Odin Day, or Odin. Thursday is Thor's Day. Friday, Frigg Freya Day. Saturday, Saturn. And Sunday was Sol Day. And the Christians, they kept the days intact and just renamed them, essentially.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does sound like. Is they literally just took it out of your repertoire, named it something a little bit different, and then kept everything the same.
Yeah,
except that the day of worship being on Sundays, right? That was the thing. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, and then there was like 13 months, not 12 months.
That is something I've heard continuously, and that's why our calendar our lives are all so fucked up, is because they took away the 13th month, and every month originally had like 28 days, and now they've got some of them got 20, one's got 28, some of them got 30, some of them got 31.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, they just again repurposed it.
Wow.
Hold on,
shit.
I got to do it. Mind blowing.
Yeah. I love this shit, and I love learning about stuff I didn't know about, especially when I'm very different than a lot of other people. I like to learn about stuff that I like. If I have a belief, right? I like to learn about what led to that belief. And then I like to sit in it. I like to sit with it. I like to mull it around. I like to reassess what I really do truly believe, and just to stay inside of reality. Because I think, the inability, and religion is another one, and I would never expect anybody to turn tail on their religion. If it gives you the moral compass that you need, I would advise you to, by all means, stay involved. But religion is one of those things, like, where even the toughest of motherfuckers, mentally and emotionally, that they say, I'm always willing to reassess my own personal beliefs based on new information. Religion tends to be the one that they are not at all willing to reassess their true beliefs in that. You know what I mean? And I think when we have episodes like this, it's not It's strictly for the purpose of education. It's strictly for the purpose of enlightenment, and I'm sure we are going to get messages. I'm sure I'm going to get fucking emails about this one. Because I get emails about I can't fart at a Piggly Wiggly without getting a fucking email about it. But I'm sure we're going to get emails about this, and I look forward to that, because this is what we do, guys. This is what we have to do, because every single thing. I want you to put away religion for a second. I'm talking to the audience now. I want you to put away religion for a second in every way, shape, form, facet, and aspect. And I want you to just think about modern culture, modern society, and what we've been taught. How many things in our lives have we been taught that we later found out were bullshit? Nearly everything. Okay. Mm-hmm. We found out that our entire education system is built to divide the people and make worker bees out of them. It's a Franco-Prussian school system meant to make workers out of people, not people out of people. We have found that Columbus didn't discover shit. We found that the Native Americans that we thought were indigenous to this land in America are actually from Siberia. We have found that all of these traditions, just homespun traditions, always have come from something else that a lot of the times had a more negative connotation to it, and it was just romanticized for the method of control. We learn about the food that we eat. The food pyramid is upside down, and it happened in the 1950s with Big Sugar, because they wanted cereal on the fucking on the menu for breakfast, not eggs. So everything we have ever fucking been taught in our lives, we have found out is, if not complete, nearly complete bullshit. And it's all been for the sake of breaking us down so that somebody can control us. So if there's anything I can tell you guys, is just have the mental fortitude to sit with this for a minute. I'm not telling you to turn your back on Jesus. I would never do that. I would never tell you to turn your back on any religion other than Judaism and Muslims and Islam, and that's only because one wants you to be a slave, or one believes you were born to be their slave, and one believes that you were born to die by their fucking blade. That's the only reason I say turn your back on that. And but I would encourage you to sit with this. I would encourage you to look into this, because we all have said in our lives at one point or another that modern society isn't going that well. And a lot of what modern society is, if not all of what modern society is what we believe based on what we were programmed to believe. So if we really want to beat the system, we don't necessarily have to turn our back on things, but we do have to contemplate what it means. We do have to contemplate the roots and origins of what we believe and where it came from. You know what I mean?
I look at it like this as well. And this is the last thing I'll say about the topic for today. Somebody breaks in your home. A lot of people pray to Jesus, pray to God, that no harm comes to him, right? We're over here. Oh, Odin has offered us a willing sacrifice.
And I like that. I don't like the idea of my God telling me I should just die rather than hurt somebody. Now, I know that's not what Jesus says. If you really know what you're talking about, make no peace with evil. And that means do whatever the fuck it takes to not do that. But modern interpretation of Christianity is roll over, be a bitch. And I just don't like it.
Much. No.
So,
and that's one of the reasons why I can get behind it.
Yeah. And I understand that. And you know what? And I'm going to sit with this, because this shit's intriguing. I like the notion of I touched on this earlier real quick. I want to interject. Jesus being a white guy seems a lot easier to move a lot of people from one religion to another if the guy that leads it looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of beard action, a little bit of long hair action. He's a white dude. I'm guessing that all the pagan gods are white guys or white. So,
yep. Odin was white, had one eye. He said he gave his eye for wisdom as well. Had a beard. Kind of interesting, isn't it? And
it's not kind of interesting. It's mind-blowingly interesting. I think it's fascinating.
Oh, and believe me, we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get into deeper levels of this shit on the part 2 episode we do eventually. So we won't make it too long, but guys, I'm fucking I'm like flabbergasted by all this because I'm learning with you guys. I'm learning with the audience because I don't, like I always say, God wasn't allowed in my house. So I was never programmed with any sort of predisposition to believe one way or the other. I do know that I have welcomed God into my life, and my life has gotten exponentially better since that has happened. But I do have a friend that says I just keep calling my God the wrong name. So I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to contemplate this. I'm going to go through this, and we're going to see, you know, where this parallels and where this kind of transcends to, if anywhere. And maybe I'll still be wearing the fucking Templar Red Cross at the end of this. Who knows? I might be wearing, you know, shirts full of runes and bracelets with Odin's rune. And there's one question I got. Okay, so Odin's rune. Yeah. Odin's rune is basically it. Let's for descriptive purposes for audio. It's a diamond with 2 tails coming off of it. It almost looks like a breast cancer ribbon, right? Is it a different rune that is that rune, but then has the additional legs going upwards off of the tails that go down, or is that the same one?
No, there's another rune like that too.
Okay.
So Odin's rune comes straight down. It doesn't kick up. I mean, there are some that rune is used in different like lettering, because even the Odin's rune, it's a letter in their alphabet. Okay. So, and again, that's, you know, you have the Elder Futhrook runes that were used. So, I mean, that's another show.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, let's wrap this shit up. If you guys want to help me get this word out, get these truths out, you can follow me on Instagram at Savagely Loud. That is where I'm most active. On that page, Savagely Loud on Instagram, you're going to find 2 links. One of those links is going to be the Savagely Loud podcast page. If you could please follow me there too, it would be greatly appreciated, as that will inevitably be my backup page. You will find the other link is just a simple link tree. Anywhere you want to hear my rants, see my videos, listen to my bullshit, you'll find it there. Outside of that, you can follow me at Facebook, X, and Rumble at Savagely Loud. Substack now at Savagely Loud. YouTube is Savagely Loud Podcast, and you can email me in savagelyloud@gmail.com. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, and rate the show. Please, please, please. I'm begging you guys. Rate the fucking show. Review the fucking show. Give me good stuff so we can get this information out there. Mr. Viking, Mr. Dave Anderson, where can they find you?
You can find me. I'm most active on Instagram and Facebook now at the Hammer Drops. Over there on Instagram is the.hammer.drops. So you can find us there. And then you can go up to the link tree and find us everywhere else, and visit us over on our website at thehammerdrops.com.
And you want to go check out TikTok. So I got banned from TikTok, but people have been sending me a lot of TikTok videos lately, so I've been having to look at it. And you sent me some shit, your page from TikTok the other day, and I looked at it. And if you go to his TikTok page, it's literally all about this shit. So, and it's really interesting stuff. It's got some pretty cool imagery on there. It's got some really interesting notes to it. So check that out. Yeah,
that you can find that one at Heathen Laoch.
And well, spell Laoch and
Laoch.
Okay. And what is Laoch? Okay. So that's how actually I came to know you years ago as Laoch.
Warrior.
Which I thought was Loach for a long time. I'm not going to lie to you.
Everybody thought
it was Loach.
You know what? At first, when people started calling me Loach, I would look at them and be like, are you fucking kidding me? But, people didn't know how to pronounce it. So I had to kind of sit back. But it's Laoch, and it means warrior.
Okay. And that would be your pagan name, so to speak?
Non-Christian name, yes.
Non-Christian name. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, as with every episode, this one's a little bit more difficult because I'm so mind blown. But as with every single episode, we get down into the nitty gritty. We get down into spaces and places that people don't always want to be in. So we got to pick ourselves back up, get in a better mood before we walk away from this shit with a little segment I like to call Hopelessly Human. And it starts a little bit like...
People can be really rough. They can be quite tough. They can get in the way, but at the end of the day, some aren't only stupid, some are hopelessly human.
Rock that shit, brother. All right, today Today's Hopelessly Human comes from BuzzFeed again. A single mom's new hero. I was a single mom working at a well-known Italian restaurant, pulling doubles whilst putting myself through school. After picking my son up from my dad's house, I took him for an ice cream. I left my server book with all my cash at the ice cream shop downtown, about $180 in all. By the time I realized it, I went back and it was gone. I got to work the next day and found out that a gentleman had brought my server book back to the restaurant, every dollar accounted for. He guessed which location to bring it to, and then they knew that it was mine because I had a picture of my son taped inside. This kind gesture still makes me tear up. That is, that may sound simple on the face of it, guys, just to return a server book full of cash. But most people wouldn't do that. Most people would take that cash and throw the server book in the trash and try to erase all memory of them ever having it and fuck whoever it belonged to. So kudos to the guy that returned that thing. That is real human, real humanity, and I love it. That's the end of the fucking show.